socio-religious movements. Vision of modern India was among the enlightened. Enlightened means that they have overcame the superstition and they are knowledgeable, they have attained the education, so they are enlightened, they are open to the wide ideas prevalent in the world. So vision of modern India, to get the ills of the previous India removed and to make India a modern one. It was among the enlightened. Vision of modern India was among enlightened, those who have attained knowledge. So this was a period of renaissance. Renaissance means the jerk. Suddenly you have received a jerk. Okay, this was something very, very wrong. We have to proceed in this way. Enlightenment. This time period where the socio-religious movements started, this was a time period which is called as Indian Renaissance. Jerk, that something is very wrong, we have to move to a new direction. Earlier what used to happen, Britishers were different from the earlier intruders. Earlier intruders, they entered into India, they make India their homeland, and they were imbibed in the wide culture of India. Early intruders became part of India. But Britishers saw India as a stagnant society. As Britishers was already enlightened, so when they entered India, they saw India as a stagnant society. So they considered themselves superior and India as inferior. They were not imbibed in Indian culture. Problems of Indian society at that time: superstition. Superstition was prevalent. Girl child infanticide. Female feticide. Problem of sati. Influence of priests, that they had the monopoly of scriptural knowledge. Scriptural knowledge. Birth of girl child was unwelcomed. Female feticide was very prevalent. Sati. Even Raja Ram Mohan Roy described sati as murder according to every shastra. Problem of untouchability. This divided India. Therefore, India cannot present a united front. Therefore, no united front. Due to this caste system, A system of segregation was maintained. Segregation was maintained. These were the problems in the Indian society at that time. As India was defeated by a foreign power, only a handful of foreign people defeated India, mainly due to internal weaknesses. Handful of foreigners defeated India. Why? Because of internal weaknesses. Which we have already discussed. So therefore, some English educated Bengalis developed a revulsion for Hinduism. In response, in reaction, for example, English educated Bengalis, they started eating beef, started drinking wine. So what are the factors for this vision of modern India, for the reforms? Education, new economy which was developing, increased awareness of world, these were the main factors for Renaissance, Indian Renaissance. Social base of this socio-religious movements, that is people who constituted the base, who were them? Social base. These were the middle class, who got the education. These social base considered themselves as their idols, European middle class. Let's say I acquired education, I got some money, so I belong to middle class, English educated middle class, and I am into the socio-religious movements. I consider my ideal as European middle class. My social roots lay in my social roots. Medicine, because I have acquired education, law, etc. Professional studies. But the European middle class, their social roots didn't lay in medicine, law, etc. They were businessmen. Aristocrats, etc. Wealthy people. So there was difference. And the ideological base was that is what were their ideas. Religious universalism, nationalism, humanism. This was the ideological base. Raja Ram Mohan Roy told, causality and demonstrability as the sole criterion for truth. That is, you have to find what is the cause, link truth to a cause, and demonstrability. If you can demonstrate that, then only it is truth. if you can say just like this that this is the truth, if you can't demonstrate it, no chance. And causality, there should be some cause for this action. If you find the cause and through that cause you can demonstrate that this action happens, then only it is truth, otherwise no. So this was a good thought. A.K. Dutt said, natural and social phenomena is understood by mechanical process. Natural and social phenomena should be understood by mechanical process. That is, there is criteria through which you can understand the phenomena, not just believing it as it is. Superstitious, no superstition. A.K. Dutt was a member of Tattva Bodhini Sabha. He was a Bengali writer and one of the pioneers of Bengal Renaissance. Thus, what was the outcome? That the intellectuals rejected the authority of religion and they evaluated truth by logic, reason or science. Intellectuals abandoned authority of religion saw truth through logic, reason or science. When they referred past, so therefore reference to past was only used as an aid or instrument. Neither total break from the past was envisaged, nor revival of past was envisaged. Neither revival of past nor total break from past. Their religious perspective was universalistic. Why? To contend the influence of religious identities on social and political outlook. Let's say I'm a religious identity XYZ. I put my influence on the social behavior, social norms, and on the political outlook that this should be the polity, this is not happening, this is not according to my religion. So to contend that outlook, socio-religious movements leader, their religious perspective was universalistic, that there is a universal religion. To contend religious identities, outlook on social and political norms. Socio-religious movements, they embody humanitarian morality. Humanitarian morality means moral values are those which favor human progress. Meaning of this, moral values are those which favor human progress. So some notable effects of socio-religious movements were vernacular language, focus on Indian arts, dress, Indian dress, food habits, alternate system of education, not only English, pre-colonial technology, the technology we used before, defense of religion, religion was defended, Indian medicine, traditional knowledge. So Britishers, as an effect, we defended our religion, we focused on Indian medicine, not English medicine, traditional knowledge which we had, alternative system of education apart from English, Indian food and dress, Indian arts, vernacular language, not only English. So these were the effects of socio-religious movements which instilled confidence in Indians. We can broadly divide socio-religious movements into two types: reformist, revivalist. Reformist means they are reforming some ills of the society. Revivalist, they are reviving the old traditions, old practices. ब्रह्मो समाज, प्रार्थना समाज, Aligarh movement. These are some examples of reformist movement. Revivalist, Arya Samaj, Deoband. These are the examples of revivalist movements. Socio-religious movements touched the aspects of religion mainly by, because all the social ills derive their legitimacy from religion. Whatever the social ills are prevalent, are they legitimate or not? Yes. This religion sanctions this, this religion sanctions this, this religion sanctions this. So therefore all the ills prevalent are sanctioned by religion. So if we want to remove these ills, we have to reform the religion. So therefore they had to touch the aspect of religion. So after some time, social base of the socio-religious movements increased. It reached the lower strata of society. Earlier, movements, persons associated were servants of India society, social conference, Christian missionaries, people associated were Gopal Hari Deshmukh, K.T. Telang, T.K. Karve, B.R. Ambedkar, Jyotiba Phule, Narayan Guru, Ramaswamy Nekar, these were some associated persons earlier. Later on, the leadership was provided by nationalist leader. Later on, leadership by nationalist. Propaganda was the Indian medium, Indian languages. So they spread their propaganda through the languages of India, vernacular languages, pamphlets, newspaper in the vernacular languages, novels, press, drama in Indian languages. Through this media, propaganda was spread. There was 2-point agenda of the socio-religious movements. First, betterment in the lives of women. Why? Because early socialization always occurs of child through mother. So therefore, if we better the position of women in society, obviously the future generation will be better, else will be divide of the society. So betterment of the position of the woman was essential because early socialization of child happens in the presence of women. Second, remove untouchability. So this was the 2-point agenda of socio-religious movements. Now we talk about the betterment of women. First of all, abolition of sati. With the efforts of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Bengal regulation of (1829) was passed. Later on in Bengal, it was extended in 1830 to Madras and Bombay. Next, female infanticide. Female infanticide was prevalent among the upper caste in Bengalis and Rajput. So, Bengal regulation of 1795 and 1804 were passed, which declared female infanticide as a murder and illegal. Then 1870 Act was passed which required registration of all the births of the babies. Next, widow remarriage. Ishwar Chand Vidyasagar, through his efforts, Widow Remarriage Act was passed, 1856 was passed. Then other notable achievements, Vishnu Shastri Pandit, Widow Remarriage Association was established in 1850s. Then Kansolji Das Mulsi, he started Satya Prakash in Gujarati. This Satya Prakash advocated widow remarriage. D.K. Karve, he started Indian Women University in Bombay in 1916. In 1916 also Lady Hardinge Medical College was also established. He also married a widow. He was also secretary of Widow Remarriage Association. He also opened Widow's Home in Pune. With respect to child marriage, Native Marriage Act, Age of Consent Act, Sharda Act, Child Marriage, Restraint Act. Native Marriage Act 1872, Age of Consent Act 1891, Sharda Act 1930 and Child Marriage Restraint Act 1978. This Native Marriage Act was not applicable to Hindus, Muslims. So therefore, this act has a limited effect. Age of Consent Act 1891. B.M. Malabari was the pioneer through with the efforts of whom Age of Consent Act was passed. Sharda Act, it restrains the marriage of the boy before 18 year and girl before 14 year. Then the Child Marriage Restraint Act, it increased the age for marriage for girls to 18 years and boys to 21 years. Native Marriage Act banned the child marriages, but as I told you, it had limited effect. Age of Consent Act 1891 with the efforts of B.M. Malabari. Marriage before the age of 12 years was not allowed. So this was about the child marriage. Now, women education. Many Christian missionaries set up Calcutta Female Juvenile Society. In 1819. Bethune School was established by J.E.D. Bethune. Ishwar Chand Vidyasagar was associated with the opening of 35 Girls' School. Charles Wood Dispatch it of 1854. It focused on the education of the women. Indian Women University was established by D.K. Karve, 1916. So many females, prominent figure, also took part in freedom struggle also. As an example, Sarojini Naidu, which was the Congress president in 1925 and later on became the governor of United Province. This 35 girls' schools were established in Bengal. Also, All India Women Conference was established in 1927.